What if I told you that what is happening in the real estate market here in Southwest Florida is not what you expect? The media has covered the real estate market in negative ways, and let's call it like it is. The media is just negative about everything, whether that's real estate or something else. There's a lot of negative, and that's how they play on our emotions. That's how they get advertising dollars. That's how they get the eyeballs. So what is actually happening here in Southwest Florida? My goal is to provide exceptional information so that you have the ability to make decisions that are best for you. Now, whether you are buying or selling, the information provided here should be able to help you get a great grasp of what's going on in the real estate market. I've been doing this here locally almost 20 years, and the market that we're seeing right now is actually quite exciting. We're starting to see some really interesting things happening. So let's break it down. Every month we go over the stats of what is happening in Lehigh County, which is primarily Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Estero, Bonita Springs, and Lehigh Acres, and also what is happening in Collier County, which is primarily Naples, Marco Island. This is the single family information, and it's year over year is how we're going to compare and show you what the market's doing, and then we'll talk about what's actually happening right now and forecast for what's going to happen in the future. So for single family homes in Collier County, we had 380 closings over the past 30 days, and that's up 32% compared to last year. In Lehigh County, 1,123 closings, which is up 27%. So you see in both counties, we're up roughly 30% in the number of closed sales. That sounds like a really great thing, right? We have more property selling. That's good for the local economy. That's good for the trades. That's good in general. Now, here's the thing. If we rewind 1 year, what was going on last year? And that's when Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton were coming through. And so that definitely impacted the amount of closings that were taking place. Because after a storm rolls through, the insurance companies have to do checks. It can delay closings. And some properties got flooded, so then they couldn't close. So that happened last year. Fast forward to this year, and knock on some wood, the entire continental U.S. got no hurricanes this year, which is absolutely great news across the board, especially for us here in Florida. So we have to take that information with a grain of salt. Now, when it comes to the median price, this is where things get a little more interesting. $743,650 in Collier County, and that's down 2% compared to last year, and almost $30,000 compared to where we were last month. And then in Lehigh County, we're at $389,900, call it $390. That's down 3%. That's down compared to last year. However, it's actually up compared to last month's data. Last month, we were about $375,000. Now we're at $390,000 is the median price of a single family home. And so that, again, stabilization of what is happening with pricing is what we are seeing. Days on market. This is a big story here. So the average days on market in Collier County and Naples is 91 days until you can expect to get a contract, assuming you sell. So for the properties that sell, 91 days that they're on the market before they get that contract. That's up 30% compared to last year, and 65 days, so about 2 months, almost 1 month sooner in Lehigh County, which is up 18% compared to last year. So the story of it taking longer to sell is still happening. That's not, the times of 2021, 2022, where things were just selling off the shelf. That is not the market that we are experiencing. And we're seeing a lot of sellers who obviously, for their own sake, want the values from 21, 22, but the buyers just are savvy enough that they're not willing to pay those today. And in fact, we're down about 24% across the board compared to the height that we saw in 2022. So new listings, this is going to give us an idea on where the inventory is headed. We have 677 new listings in Naples. That's up 22% compared to last year, and 1,987 in Lehigh County, which is up 24%. So all of Southwest Florida is experiencing more more listings coming on the market right now than they were last year. So that's something to keep an eye on. The amount of pending inventory, this is the good news. So 464 properties pending in Collier County, which is up 12% compared to last year. 1,389 pending in Lee, that's up 14% over the course of the last year. So up 12 and 14% in the number of properties that are pending, which means, fast forward, we're going to continue to see a higher number of closings in the coming months than we did last year. So that is a really good sign. Month supply, that puts us right at 7.4 months supply in Collier County. That's basically exactly where it was this time last year, and 6.9% months. So both of them around 7%, and that's up 11% year over year. Now, here's real stats of what's happening today. So these are past 30 days, right? This is historical. What's happening today is that our inventory is slightly over 19,000 properties, between 19 and 20,000 properties that are on the market as of today. That's around 1,300 more properties that we had on the market this same exact time last year. This is information that we track on a weekly basis because it helps us understand. The number of homes that are selling now are higher than they were last year. So that is a great sign for the upcoming season. But with inventory being higher, I do not expect that we're going to see any major increases when it comes to the real estate pricing. Now, here's what's going on. The federal government understands we need to do things to stimulate the housing market. We've seen proposals of a 50-year mortgage, which I just did a video about. If you've not seen that one, make sure that you go and watch that video. But also the idea of maybe being able to port over your existing interest rate, your existing loan to a new property, which I think would be an incredible advantage for homeowners who feel stuck because they don't want to go, buy a new home at today's rates. So that is what is happening here in Southwest Florida. If you could do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's have some dialogue about this in the comments. Is this something that you see this season? We're going to see inventory get even higher than where we saw last year, or is almost 25,000 properties on the market? Or are we going to see a sell-off this year and get back to normal where we should be? That's it for now. Hope you have a blessed day, and as always, thank you so much for watching.